Right, but with that, our next run is ready, and I am very excited for this one. We're going to take an unusual path, maybe you might even say an uncharted path, with Panzerdeer with Uncharted Drake's Fortune 80% no launches. Let's get this adventure started.
What's up, everyone? My name is Panzerdeer, and I'm going to be running Uncharted 1 80% no launches for you. Join with me if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Melon, and I'll be helping Panzer with the commentary today.
Yeah, so without further ado, we can just get started immediately because the start of the game is pretty slow, so we can just explain it there. Yeah, let's get ready with the timer. Okay, time starts when I skip this movie. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Okay, so thank you. First of all, what is any percent of launches? Well, a launch is a glitch in this game where if you roll on specific slopes and then press up on the D-pad and circle at the same time, you can launch yourself great distances, and you know it's fairly broken. It saves a good chunk of time in the course of the run, but the only issue with it is that it's inconsistent. So the community thought it would be a good idea to split the category into no launches and launches, and of course here I'm running no launches for you guys today.
Oh no, you don't.
I prefer it. It just makes the run more consistent and easier to get to the end.
Yeah, launchers are definitely one of the harder tricks in the game, so not that many people have ever done them, even, so this is definitely a more consistent and fun category.
Yeah, the leaderboards are vastly different in terms of how many people actually run them. Yeah.
Sully, where are you?
I guess we could also mention about the game. This originally came to PS3, but we are playing the PS4 remastered on the PS5, so it's a little confusing, but basically this is just a remaster of the game. It has higher frame rate, it had a photo mode added, which we will talk about later, and 2 new difficulties, being the Explorer difficulty and Brutal difficulty. The Explorer difficulty is the easiest one, and that's what we are playing on right now.
Yeah, Explorer offers a lot of cool strats as well, which you'll see. We can just breeze through a lot of enemies with this difficulty, and at the end with the boss fight you'll also see something unique as well. Okay, so also thank you everyone for the good luck. So this is where the run really starts.
Hold on, kid.
We're gonna finally start to see some movement. Here's just a slow walk, but eventually you're gonna see us jumping a lot, which is the fastest form of movement when you're not in combat, which we can get on to a little bit later.
Hang in there, old timer. We're just about there.
So yeah, with these jumps, ideally you also want to jump as often as possible to have as little delay as possible between the jumps. And here you might see Panzer shooting every now and then. That's basically a very minor optimization as well if he can't fit any jumps in between. Here also there's a short slow walk section, so he's gonna roll over it so he doesn't have to walk all the way. And coming up there's a short climbing skip that's gonna save around 25 seconds of climbing around. Trick is just we are gonna stand on a little tree root to get us a bit higher, which allows us to grab a ledge that we are not intended to grab yet. Like so.
Yeah, and with that we've just skipped a whole climbing section here in this area.
Good work, kid.
What you'll notice as well is I'm using blind fire to cancel certain animations. So you're going to be seeing the blind fire used a lot over the course of this run. like so.
Yeah, shooting is used a lot in different ways. Almost even more so, again, with other uses than enemies. But here's the bread and butter glitch of the game, which we call aim clipping, as we are literally spamming aim and phasing through walls.
Yeah, it's a very easy glitch to do. Even easier on PS3 because of the frame rate. But we're going to be abusing this basically the whole way through this chapter. There's certain puzzles that we're just completely skipping over.
Yeah, if we can clip through almost any walls, the route becomes rather simple in simple levels. We're just gonna go the straight line across every wall.
Exactly.
I recognize these symbols.
You also might notice that Panzer is not aiming right away when he gets to the wall. Instead, he's sort of aligning himself against the wall with his left shoulder before aiming. That's because if you would aim with turning, or turn with aiming, that would sort of push you away from the wall, and you'd have to clip a lot further, for a lot longer. So that's clipping has a bit more to it than it might originally seem. It's not just tapping aim.
Yeah. You almost have to be like parallel to the wall in order for a good clip to happen.
Yeah. Here's a first difficult clip, as there's almost no floor after the wall, but that was nicely done. So if you walk even a little bit after you get through the wall, you're just gonna fall straight down.
Yeah, we're coming up to the sub or the U-boat. Usually in this area you'd have to do a little parkour section to get around the back of it, but instead we can just clip through. And then restart checkpoint to get inside.
Yeah, when we mentioned
this section...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, you can go. I was just going to say, this section is just a lot of walking, turning cranks like this, so now would be a pretty good time if there's any announcements or messages.
Well, in fact, I do have a donation here from Nevermolly _ with $10 to the Real Hope Project. No comment, but thank you so much for that donation. And that went towards both the Donkey Kong 64 runners performing the DK rap incentive and towards the Spider-Man costume bid war. So that's a really cool thing about Tiltify, is you can put your donation towards both a target and a poll. So when you donate, you can get almost like 2 incentives for the price of 1. I think that's super cool. So donate in chat, keep your donations coming in, and don't forget to assign them to both a target and a bid war if you'd like.
Yeah, thank you for the donation. So an interesting thing about this section is that sometimes after a cutscene or certain camera changes, the stick direction likes to invert. So if you if you hold down on the stick, Nate will go forward, or if you go left, he will go right. It's really weird, but if any of you have played the game and have faced any stick issues here, that would be why.
Yeah, you actually have to somewhat focus on this chapter because of those reverse angles. So that's at least nice, because this used to be pretty boring. Alright, we are finally in combat, and here now the movement is going to change a little bit. Before we were jumping constantly to be the fastest form of movement, but now it's much simpler. We can just run, and that's going to be the fastest type of movement in combat.
Yep. Blind firing up stairs or just inclines is still the fastest way to go up those, as well as jumping down a decline or anything like that. We're just abusing some restart checkpoints here that Melon has actually found in this chapter. If you kill specific enemies and then restart checkpoint, you can basically just go across the chapter a lot faster. So it's a nice touch.
Yeah, that one saves a whopping half a second.
Maybe that one's not the best example, but
there
are some good ones over the course of the game.
Yeah, for sure. This run would be much longer if we couldn't restart checkpoint, or RC as we call it, for short.
Yeah. Coming up is another example. We're gonna kill specific enemies here and then restart checkpoint.
Yeah, the last
And we'll end
4
up up the
of
stairs.
those were necessary for that checkpoint to work.
My hand was ready to split, but I'm not using a timer.
I was about to ask, are you using splits? I saw that as well.
I am not, that's just muscle
Habit.
memory.
Yep. Here we are actually going to shoot that log and kick it on purpose instead of clipping through it. That allows us to spawn enemies a bit later on, so that we can get combat speed again for the rest of the chapter. Otherwise we would have to be jumping most of the way, which is going to be a bit slower. That's some really nice climbing. That is much harder than it looks. Nice. And here, this innocent looking jump to the log might not look like much, but that actually skips an enemy spawn trigger. So after these 3, we are not going to be seeing any enemies later on. Here there would be normally 3 chapters, and at the bottom there would be a huge encounter as well. And normally we wouldn't even be able to progress here, as in that this large encounter at the final wave the enemies drop down some of the pillars and they break, which allows us to climb up them, but we can do that trick to just climb up and not have to worry about being stuck there.
Got that first try, which is kind of nice. We also just picked up an AK, which we'll be using for chapter 5 for one of the fights.
Yeah, we do weapon preparation a few times in the run. So if we are picking up a weapon, it definitely has a reason for it, even if we might not be using it for a while.
Yeah, definitely.
And here's the iconic... whoa, wow, you were actually going for that jump in a marathon. I respect that. Because if Panzer would fall here, he would go almost all the way back to the beginning of this chapter, which would obviously cost a lot of time. So this is always a bit of a nervous part for all runners. 'Cause it's quite easy to fail the climbing here.
I was just going to say, we skipped quite a bunch of combat encounters. And there was no checkpoints anywhere, so if I did die, yeah, I would have been sent back kind of far. But luckily we already hit a checkpoint now, so we're good.
Here's our first use of the photo mode, which is a more minor use. It allows us to move in some in-game cutscenes. So for example there, when the truck was flying across, usually you can't move for a few seconds, but you saw Panzer was landed on it as soon as the truck landed, which saves a decent amount of time and is really tricky of a jump. So nicely done.
Thank you. There's going to be one more coming up here, using that photo mode glitch.
And that's the last instance we're going to use it in the run. We're going to use photo mode for other purposes later on. But yeah, it doesn't make too much of a difference in this game.
So we're just moving right now. You can't see us obviously, but we were able to jump down here and get a checkpoint. Or fall down here rather.
And here is
skip this
the...
fight as well.
Ooh, you still got it, barely. Nice. So before
Yeah,
that barrel exploded, if you vault over it, and during that vault animation, for some reason there are no collision checks, which allows us to go through walls, and that barrel is conveniently placed right there, right next to the out of bounds. Oh, you went for that as well. Nice. That is a really hard trick and very risky.
It only saves like 3 seconds.
Yep.
Definitely not really worth going for unless you just want a good time.
We call that leap of faith if that name already suggests how risky that is.
Yeah.
And here there would usually be a castle, but we are going so fast that it hasn't had time to load in yet. So we're just climbing in thin air, and there it is.
Eyes ahead, don't look down.
Climbing in this game can be very notorious. You don't really want to spam X unless you know what you're doing, and you have to be in certain ledges sometimes, or otherwise Nate will just yeet himself off the edge, which can be very frustrating, but once you get used to it, it's definitely manageable. Here we shoot at the
so
turret.
just use the AK there.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, we use the AK there to shoot at that turret. If we only had the pistol here, we would have a bit of trouble dealing with that. I almost just died there to that next turret, but luckily we clutched that one out.
This place could use a good plumber.
Okay.
Son of a bitch, where did they
Yeah,
go?
next up, or actually before that, this is sort of a weird encounter, how we're gonna do this. So normally we can't use this crank that's right next to us, but if we clip through this gate, the game counts us as the encounter having been completed, which allows us to use this crank again, or allows us to use it at all. And this is unfortunately the hardest clip in the run, which is really inconsistent.
Oh my god.
And how is this run so good?
This is actually a really good run.
That is really, really hard to do first try, and is almost luck-based, sort of. Because it's so inconsistent, and yeah, Panzer just does it first try, no problem.
Yeah, this is a... I don't want to jinx myself, but this is a very good run so far.
I would absolutely bet you're ahead. No pressure.
Yeah,
Anyway,
no pressure, no pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. For this chapter 6, this route is gonna look a little weird. We could get to the end way before what we're actually doing, but we need to hit certain checkpoints to actually trigger the end, otherwise the end wouldn't work at all. So mainly we need to clip through here and go all the way around from the top, because behind the turret there's one checkpoint that we need to hit. Or I'm not actually sure if you need to hit the others, but I know you at least need to hit the checkpoint near the turret.
Yeah. Just gonna blaze through these enemies here. Oh. Okay. Yeah, unfortunately we have to hit these checkpoints basically in chronological order. And we're just gonna make our way to the upper deck here.
Do you have a moment for a donation?
Yeah, sure.
We have $10 from Rhymo Swag, who says, "Hey Panzer, good luck on the run. Remember, if you don't get sub 40, Uncharted Golden Abyss is not a real game."
Thank you, Ro.
Alright, upcoming is a very tricky climbing section, which looks really cool if it gets to work, but it's pretty precise, and let's see how that goes. These pillars right here.
Where'd she go?
it's intended to take them a whole lot slower, but you can... Okay, that works. That wasn't
We'll
the
take
plan,
it.
but that works. That works. Usually you can jump all the way across to here, these ledges as well.
Yeah,
If it
you can
works
do like
perfectly.
two very... yeah, you can do two very tricky jumps to skip some of that climbing. But at least I didn't die, so I'll take that.
Yep.
This must have been tricks.
It's been pretty intense action so far, and now we have a nice breather of a chapter because
So what were
the
you
next
looking
chapter is pretty much an auto-scroller. There's one restart checkpoint that you can do faster to save time, otherwise you can't save any time at all.
Yeah.
Crap.
Yeah, so it's just 3.5 minutes of being on this turret here. There's 2 moments where I actually have to pay attention to shoot a truck and then some boulders. But other than that, because we're on Explorer difficulty, these enemies don't really do much to you. You don't have to pay much attention. That being said, I have died here before, so more than once. So still pay some attention, but yeah, it's kind of an easy breeze. If there's any announcements or messages, now would be a good time.
Awesome. I want to remind folks about some of the incentives that are open, including that DK64 run tomorrow, the runners performing the DK wrap. We need $100 to have that met. Right now we're at $32.43. We're making some good progress on that. You donate towards that one. There's also a glitch exhibition for the intro of DK64, also coming up tomorrow. That's open. We also have some bid wars. One that's coming up later tonight, that is for Overcooked 2. That's the final run of tonight. You can decide the chef. There's been no changes that recently, but as a reminder, Green Alien is currently in the lead at $120. Ranma next at $12.43. Purple Alien at $10, and Robot with no love yet. You could change that with your donations. ! Donate in chat. All of that is going to the Real Hope Project, helping kids find forever homes.
Yeah, we have to get Green Alien, definitely.
But I hear Grandma comes with bonus cookies, and I want bonus cookies.
But I want Green Alien.
Oh, chat, you'll have to help us settle this. Donate, help us settle this argument. Which one is better, Green Alien or Grandma with cookies?
Okay, this is the restart checkpoint we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, that was very nicely done. Should be a pretty good chapter now.
Should we mention jet skip while we're here, or?
Yeah, I was thinking about talking the other use of photo mode, because I don't think we'll have time to explain it during the skip itself. Do you want to explain how the loading of areas works with photo mode? Or I don't know how we can even explain that. I don't really know how it works.
I'm not really 100% sure how it works either, but if you zoom out far enough, just things begin to unload. If you can like get the camera to an area that's like out of bounds, you can unload an area or make certain actors reset. I know that was definitely a thing in Uncharted 3. I remember Gizmo talking about it. He was another Uncharted speedrunner. But in the example for this run, we're going to use photo mode to unload the current chapter that we're in to navigate to a new chapter, which you will see coming up.
Yeah, we are just runners, so we don't really know how all this works. We just know we can use photo mode to load or unload areas. That's enough for us, Clem.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I can't believe that worked.
So who was that guy?
Just an old business. Oh, look out! Oh no!
Alright, the auto-scroller chapter is finally over, and we can start it on the run again.
Go!
Yeah, so
God's sake!
Here I'm just going to mention we're going to kill a couple of enemies for some more weapon prep. We need this Wes and an AK, which we'll get from this guy here.
Yeah, we are in chapter 8 right now, and we will use those in chapter 13. So it'll be a bit. But there is a massive, fairly new skip that has been discovered that we'll be using, and it's definitely one of my favorites.
Mine too.
If you can
I'm gonna
imagine with
focus on
the...
this, so I'll let-
Yeah, I'll try and handle it. So with the aim clipping, you would imagine that the route becomes fairly straightforward pretty early on. I mean, how much more time can we save if we can clip through almost every wall? But there is a brand new skip that doesn't use aim clipping, or rather uses something completely different, and that was pretty close, by the way, almost.
Yeah.
Alright, so here we're gonna line up our jet ski first, and then photo mode to unload the area, more importantly the water, and then we're gonna fall down around 2.5 seconds, then photo mode again and wait for the water to load in. We're gonna be driving under the water for a little bit in that direction that we aimed before. Then once we get to the edge, we're gonna photo mode again to deload the area, and now we are loading the chapter 12 river, which is the last jet ski section of 3 jet ski sections. Now we are way below the water, driving under it, and we are slowly rising. There's a certain part of the river where if we get too close to the surface, it will deload the area, so we're going to be dropping down again and just driving along the river. Panzer here is going to look at the mountains for certain cues to know where to go and where to turn. And looking at these waves, he has some cues to know when to turn as well. And around this point we are past the part where the game can unload if we are too close to the surface, so now we are safe to surface. And we are pretty close to the checkpoint. And now we can start. There we go. That's very nice. That is a very hard skip.
Clean. And yeah, we are in chapter 12 now.
Yeah, we could also do that, this skip without restarting checkpoint, but we would still have the grenade launcher from chapter 8, and our movement speed in this flat water would be slower by a little bit, but it is faster on inclines for some reason, so it's not that much of a difference if you RC or not. But if we restart checkpoint, we get this normal pistol that we can blind fire constantly, which is a lot better to handle the barrels. I mean,
yeah. There's also going to be a section at the end of this river that is pretty much RNG on whether you survive it or not. So I'm just hoping we can get it.
Yeah, it's unfortunately sometimes there's nothing you can do. You just have to pray that you don't get damaged too much.
Likely right now.
Oh, that was... Oh no.
That was really bad.
That was extremely bad. But yeah, that is exactly what we were talking about.
Yeah.
That can unfortunately happen.
About that. Yeah.
We have small hopes of extending the jet skip even further, that we would drive under the water even more and all the way to the end possibly, but we haven't made it work just yet. And we have no idea if it would even be faster, but it would at least skip this RNG section. Ideally, in theory.
Yeah, we're still tinkering with this whole skip.
Yeah, now this looks a lot better. Sometimes you barely get shot at all, and sometimes it looks like what happened in the previous attempt. Which is unfortunate.
Explorer difficulty can just spike like that sometimes.
And there we go, we are in chapter 13, even though we started on the jet ski on chapter 8, so that skipped a whole lot.
Yeah.
And we forgot to mention that jet ski in general, it saves 2 minutes over the old any% route. that we used to do, which is a massive skip that gives some more context.
Yeah, considering this is a pretty short speed run, 2 minutes is huge. I was meant to roll there, but whatever.
Slow down. One of Eddie's goons
Here
can get
we kick down the gate on purpose to again spawn some enemies, because we can get an absolutely massive checkpoint from these, which is gonna get us further a lot more than simply running through them. And now we're gonna do a bit more weapon prep again. We're gonna get this guy's pistol, hopefully. It can be sometimes a little clunky.
Yeah, like that.
And we're gonna do a massive sequence break again. Now we are in chapter 13, and we're gonna use photo mode to load in chapter 15,
Oh man.
where it's basically the spot where chapter 14 ends and chapter 15 starts. Now we're gonna go into a completely different direction that we are intended to. We're going towards the end of chapter 15 that you're usually not meant to go towards. This can be a very tricky clip, as you can't see anything where you're clipping. And here's the end of chapter 15. There's a puzzle room in that building, which isn't even loaded at the moment. But we are gonna clip around it and run around it, which can be a bit tricky, as it's very easy to fall off. Here we're gonna jump and load in chapter 16 basically, and very nice.
Yeah, that was
Worked.
This whole area of the game still confuses me on like how you actually even play this normally, because I have not done that in such a long time, and this area is just confusing.
It's a bit confusing, but as a side effect, by the way, there's usually a gate there, but it doesn't even spawn when we skip the puzzle. And there's one glitch tech that we never use again in the run. That's the only use of it. I don't know what we even call that. Cover vault jumping. I don't think we have a
like
name
a
for
vault
it.
jump,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, you just vault over and spam X, and it is able to jump for a little time frame as long as you press X during that time frame.
Let's just keep getting better and better.
Yeah, we have a little bit of
So
a
here's one of the
combat.
fights-
Sorry, go ahead if you
sorry,
can.
so here's one of the fights that we actually do instead of skipping it.
Yeah,
yeah,
we
back to you.
unfortunately have to do this skip, or this fight I mean. Otherwise, if we jump over here and continue, Elena dies for mysterious reasons. She just falls to the ground.
Sometimes when you have a companion with you, doing things like skipping ahead or going to different areas can just outright kill your companion, which is either going to be Elena or Sully.
Here is the blind fire while going upstairs in more full effect. If you didn't do this, this would be so much slower, but you're just blazing through it if you were in blind fire.
I'm pretty sure it was you who found out that using a full auto weapon instead of a semi-auto makes it faster.
There's gotta be a way out of here.
I don't think it's faster, I just use it because it's easier. I can just hold it
Oh,
instead
really?
of spamming it.
Now you're heavier than you
At least I
Okay,
don't know
well,
if it's faster. I don't think.
Remembered that wrong.
It's all good. Here we are actually able to move without any...
Looks
the
like
game
an
just
old
allows you to move
Hoist or something.
during this section for whatever reason.
There's a rope.
And if you fall down
Try to lower it down to you.
this bit when the camera changes to this, for some reason the cutscene appears earlier. Which is very weird, but it just works.
What the hell is going on?
Here's one of my
No.
favorite sections that I'm biased because here there's gonna be a group of enemies, or waves of enemies rather, and the next wave of enemies doesn't appear until all of the enemies in the current wave are taken out.
This is a
Unfortunately,
very bad fight.
Panzerdeer had a little bit of a rough start, and it's really, really hard to catch up once something goes wrong. It's much easier
Yeah.
if it starts out good, rather than to make one mistake and try to recover. But nice recovery.
We did okay in the end.
Yeah. After this cutscene, this is just on a timer, so now you don't have to worry about taking out the monsters real quick. Story-wise, we haven't really had much time to explain why they are even monsters in the first place, but
Oh shit.
hopefully if anyone is watching and is interested can just play the game themselves, because we are skipping all cutscenes and most of the areas, so you can't really follow the story at all.
Come on, Nate.
Yeah, I guess a good thing about this is that we're pretty much spoiler free here. You will not know what is going on if you watch this.
Yeah, we don't see the main villain for a single second at all during this movie.
Exactly.
So next up is one of the bigger skips again. If you have played this game before, you definitely remember this bunker section, which is pretty iconic, and it can be sort of a horror game-like as well. But the end of that chapter is oh no, this ladder right next to where Panther is trying to jump. It can be tricky to land on, but so we are in chapter 18 right now, and the chapter 19 end is this ladder. So there we go. We just skipped 2 chapters.
Yeah. It's probably well, I know I just failed it, but that probably is one of the easiest skips to do in the game.
Yep, here at that restart checkpoint is usually we are locked in a slow walk state for a little bit, and that just allows us to jump right away. So checkpoints can have a lot more uses than rather than just getting you forward.
Yeah. We're gonna skip this encounter is pretty long if I recall correctly.
Yep.
And we're just gonna skip it by clipping into the church here.
Yes. And we're gonna use photo mode for the last time of this run and to basically skip half of the next chapter. We're gonna clip out of bounds and then hang on a ledge, drop down, photo mode to load the lake below. And once the lake is loaded, we can exit photo mode, and then the cutscene, or we will hit the cutscene trigger and we can skip the cutscene.
Yeah.
Right, the
Pretty much
next
our home
chapter.
stretch now.
Yeah, the next chapter is the last chapter, which is about a minute long, so we are close on time. We have a bit over a minute left. So fun fact about this, there's a Navarro who I won't mention for spoiler reasons who he is, but oh wow, that's a lot of damage. On any other difficulty other than Explorer, you die from one shot from him, but on Explorer you can take a few shots. But even on easy
so
you
this
die in
boss
one
fight-
shot.
This boss fight was already pretty terrible, but you can, on Explorer, you don't have to do any glitches or anything. You can just go straight to Navarro and fist fight him.
Yeah, usually you would have to take
Usually you're
cover on
meant to-
those crates a few times, yeah.
Yeah,
Time is coming up.
but time is coming up on the final hit. And that is time.
GG.
GG's, thank you.
GG.
Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. There was a couple mistakes, but the majority of it was really solid. I'm just happy Crank Skip worked out. What was the time, if I can ask?
I'll get that for you in just a moment.
No
I
problem.
think it's still a sub 40 even with that
That,
Chapter
I believe,
12.
was a sub 40.
Lovely.
Catching up here. That was a 38-14.
Yeah, so that's a pretty good time. I will take that.
38-14. Whoa.
Yeah. So Rama, you know what you have to do. Everyone in chat, the Uncharted community, thank you guys for being here. Runs for Reals, thank you for having me as well. Do you have anything to say, Melon, while we close off?
I guess thanks for having us, and if anyone is interested in checking out any of the Uncharted speedruns, feel free to join the Uncharted Discord. You can find it on speedrun.com. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you guys. Take care.